Those Washington, D.C. days where 90 degrees joins 100% humidity, I had the temerity to try to watch my kid's softball game. As soon as I stepped out of the car, my whole body started to numb out, and my back began like an electric ache in the back. But I was so sick of being defeated that I just dumped myself with ice and staggered to the stands. The numbness deepened in my hands and legs. I started to almost black out. A black tunnel appeared at my peripheral vision. And at that moment, I thought of the veteran again. Once again, here he was with me. The jungle he had fought in had been really hot. A stupid, cruel war. This was a stupid, cruel disease. Neither of us deserved what we had been handed. All we wanted was to move on and move about our lives. But as expected, the years of hard work flew by and my disease became more progressive. I lost half my walking distance every year. My left leg would become a heavy dead log after only a little bit of walking. Without the help of my physical therapists, I'm sure it would have gone away much sooner. One weekend I was in my big fancy office trying to write one paragraph of an email. I kept shuffling and reading the same handful of cases and articles. I could not write this paragraph. I wanted my brain to be quick and sharp, but imagine a sharp, quick lawyer brain turned into molasses. I was dull and confused. I was terrified about how deep or long this brain pattern might go, and MS often results in significant cognitive slippage, and I certainly knew this was not going to improve. So soon after, in 2010, 16 years after my diagnosis, I hung it up. I went on full disability from law practice. This was the hardest decision I ever had to make. I sat in the examination room with my wife for my first meeting with my neurologist about the disability, a noted Georgetown MS expert who had treated me for years. When his young resident tried to make a conversation with me, I asked him, "Doctor, how many years did you have to study to become what you are now?" And he looked at me kind of puzzled and said, "Well, 8 if you include this residency." I said, "I studied for 3 years in law school and have worked 14 years to get where I am." You know, I can imagine as physical therapists that you've all had conversations with people who are going through major losses. And I needed him to hear me because next I started to cry. And I said, "You are about to witness the end of a brilliant legal career." My neurologist walked in with the completed disability form and found me sobbing with my head in my hands. In that moment, and many moments thereafter, I just could not see a way that life was ever going to seem okay again. I could no longer do my life's work. I could barely walk. My financial future was completely in doubt. I felt like my sense of myself was under attack from all sides. I danced briefly with suicide. I tried to look to the veteran for inspiration, but one more time, all I could see was that damn chair. So the disease progressed further, and I continued to work with physical therapists, and I lived in fear that one big fall might leave me that much more disabled. And then it happened. One night just before Christmas, 2015, my left leg buckled underneath me and I fell hard, fracturing 5 ribs. The fireman carried me down my stairs on a special chair like some ancient king or something. I missed weeks of walks and workouts and physical therapy sessions. And shuffling papers. And my walking slowed and shortened. I began using a wheelchair for any distance over about 20 yards. I feel feeble and trapped, either wobbling on my feet with a walker or sitting in a wheelchair. My legs just don't feel like they're mine. They're just not my legs anymore. Many people don't face things like this until their 70s or 80s. Most people don't. I wish for my strong legs back. I even miss my old walking canes. At times, the world seems to close in and self-pity gains strength. It's tempting to see just the chair. And self-pity is your greatest enemy when you have MS. But the veteran's image won't allow much of this. His example, the strong man, allows no excuse, no despair, no regret. You just have to keep going like he did up those stairs so long ago. So, with guidance of physical therapists, I do work out every day to hang on to what I have left. I'm climbing my own set of stairs. I'm not going to give up. I'll walk carefully as long as I can, and when I can't walk, the walk is too long, I'll use the wheelchair. I believe this is why I met the Vietnam veteran so many years ago. If he could fling himself up those awful stairs, my bumpy journey looks at least possible. I've spent far more hours with physical therapists on my journey than with doctors. Physical therapists have worked with me that are some of the most dedicated, caring people I've ever known. They've kept me walking through some hard times and helped ease the transition when I couldn't walk much anymore. They've helped me to feel like I did absolutely all I could, everything I could, to have no regrets over failing to do more. I left it all on the field with their help. I want to thank you for choosing to join this wonderful profession. Now, when you have MS, a lot of people talk to you about courage. I really love this quotation from David White. He wrote this about courage. Courage is the measure of our heartfelt participation with life, with another, with a community, a work, or a future. It is our heartfelt participation with life, with another, with a community, a work, a future. To be courageous is not necessarily to go anywhere or do anything except to make conscious those things we already feel deeply and then live through the unending vulnerabilities of those consequences. And so let me ask you to consider, what does courage look like when a physical therapist works with a patient like me, or with a child who's lost a leg in a car accident, or a 75-year-old recovering from stroke? It means listening. It means being present and open to the stories of our lives. It means learning who we are and where we have been. It means bringing all of your excellent training and experience to bear on our situation. And it means facing the reality that you may not have the answer for us. We may not improve. But that does not mean that we can't be helped by you. It means holding our sadness and our frustration, even our despair. Sometimes it means sitting in silence with us. It means letting us use you, use your strength, your hands, your ears, your eyes. It means setting small, creative goals for us to reach. And it means showing us when you're moved by our strength or by our struggle. So if I leave you with one idea, it is to ask you to please have the courage to share our experience with us. Please have the courage to stay and share our experience, to be quiet in the moment and just be with us. And thank you for sharing my experience with me. And as the brave veteran said to me, thank you for getting my chair.